All right, today we're hitting California's raw milk recall from the bird flu, especially since no one's actually gotten sick. More on that in a minute. RFK Jr. is caught in the middle, advocating for natural food freedoms while navigating his new political role. Plus, Trump just met with Big Pharma execs. Guess who he took with him and what they talked about. And finally, the carnivore diet is making a surprising comeback, according to Vogue. That's right. Vogue says that the carnivore diet is challenging veganism in more ways than one. Let's unpack it all. Evan Kaufman, Mark Owens, myself. Let's get to it, boys.
Brett, that was beautiful.
Love it.
I worked on that for about 7.5 minutes. Thank you, sir.
It shows. It shows. It was really nice. Yeah, so, man, the raw milk thing is, we can jump in there, I feel like. That's a bizarre one, right?
Let's do it. I was in California last week, and I had 2 jugs of this raw farm raw milk. Didn't catch bird flu. And so this article from Politico says that the California Department of Public Health suspended the sale of Raw Farm's unpasteurized dairy products this week after tests detected bird flu. But what's interesting is if you go over to the AP News article, it says no one that's drinking the milk has caught the flu. It seems that everybody that's caught the flu, it's been passed around through contagion at the farm and through contact with infected animals. But people drinking the milk aren't getting sick. So it begs the question, why are they pulling this stuff from the shelves? Why are they trying to shut down Raw Farm? It seems like it's an assault on raw milk.
Well, and I think it gets even a little bit more tricky because we can watch the video, but I think that, and I forget the gentleman's name, but the man that's CEO of the company is potentially going to do some type of deal with RFK and be involved in the FDA, potentially.
That's right. I did read that.
So it does get a little dicey, you know? I mean, man, it's like the way I look at it too is like, I just don't, I think we're in a spot where people just don't necessarily know what to make of, or if they should trust these kind of government overlords telling us what to do. I mean, we're still kind of on the heels of Chimichanga and seeing sort of how that was handled. And so I don't know, man. I don't know if you can just blindly hear, hey, this stuff has been linked to bird flu, so we're going to take it off the shelves and we shouldn't drink it.
So just like the masses learned about, the jab, as the silver lining through Chimichanga, the masses are going to have to be educated on the benefits of raw milk. It's safe in a sense to where if you're sourcing it from a quality farmer, and it's not scary. It's just not the norm because it'll make you healthier, right? And the FDA and other organizations don't want you to be healthy because they want to continue to make that cheddar, no pun intended. But
like, I remember talking about this on the show a couple of weeks ago with you guys. Like, I think it's worth stating that, yes, if you're going to drink raw milk, there is going to be a chance that you might pick up some type of bacteria. Now, the argument is, of course, the nutrient value that you're going to get with raw milk versus pasteurized is so much greater. And I mean, I think it all, dude, I don't know. I think it all goes back to this idea that it's, if you're going to not take certain jabs, if you're going to drink raw milk instead of pasteurized milk, you're going to have to live a certain lifestyle where you're going to have to gain some health from certain things that you wouldn't necessarily need to had you gone, a more traditional route, I think. So you just got to weigh that on your own, right?
Isn't it the same too with eggs and beef though? Right?
Yeah.
If you eat the yolks uncooked, you could get sick. If you eat beef at medium rare or rare, you could get sick. They say these foodborne illnesses are in all these things if they're not fully cooked. So what's the difference with raw milk?
Yeah. Just like you're right. When you go to a restaurant, there's a disclaimer at the bottom of every menu, talking about, beware, you could get sick from, foodborne.
Sushi restaurants.
By undercooked meat and things like that. But like, dude, you roll the dice anytime that you go to a restaurant and you get chicken, could be undercooked. When you buy your produce and or your meats at the grocery store, it is transported in a refrigerated truck. I mean, and a lot of times it's coming from 3 or 4 or 5 states away. And it might take 5 to 7 days to get there and exchange hands, if not longer. what if that reefer unit went down for X amount of hours and, the load still got delivered to the grocery store, but the meat went bad? I mean, who knows? I mean, you're rolling the dice at everything. I mean, anytime that you buy groceries, you're rolling the dice.
And it's a different day and age. I mean, we talked about the raw milk epidemic back in New York in the last episode and how there was no refrigeration on the trucks. It's a much different day and age now. I mean, we're getting sushi flown overnight from Japan that you could thaw out and eat raw. Okay, it's a different game. There's different technologies at play. You don't eat sushi? Why not?
Not at all?
No.
I thought you liked to rock and roll.
No, I like to rock and roll. Why am I doing that? I ain't playing that song, baby. I tell you what, man. When
you eat it if it's cooked?
Like 5 days. What? When I eat? Yeah, if it's cooked. But dude, that's the thing, man.
If it's cooked, okay.
Again, it's off topic, but, it's a different day and age, what I'm saying. I mean.
Yeah. No, it is.
Why not sushi? I want to know. You don't like the raw? Is it the texture?
Because it's okay. I once watched a special with a ceviche chef, like authentic ceviche chef in South America. And everybody travels the world to eat this gentleman's ceviche. And his restaurant is like a very small little quaint place, like I think like in his apartment, right? And he says the best way to eat raw fish, the best time frame, is 8 hours from kill.
Huh.
From the time the fish smacks the deck of the boat and you clean it, 8 hours. So
just in terms of like the best nutrients that are in it, or what?
All the above.
What's the idea?
All the above. Safest, taste, smell, nutrients.
Okay.
I mean,
it's
raw, right? So it's like you're getting shrimp from Vietnam or Thailand, where the majority of our shrimp comes from, or you're eating or fish that's coming from Japan or same Vietnam, Thailand, or wherever it's coming from, and it's getting shipped here. It's on a long boat, so it's being caught and harvested on a boat on ice for maybe 30 plus days because they're out there fishing. Then it comes into their port. They get it in, they cut it, fillet it, then they ship it. And then it goes from there to here, hits the ports, goes from the ports into the distribution centers, and then it gets picked up by third-party trucking companies, and they put it on their reefer trailers and bring them into. Too much time passes, bro. I don't mess with it.
No, you're right. I mean,
I like it.
We're out fishing, and the fish hits the deck, and we got some fresh mahi, and bring it in the soy sauce,
different
baby.
Story.
Let's do it.
I have had that once. I was on spring break once in Miami or Fort Lauderdale area, and these guys went out deep sea fishing, and they came back and they had these plates of like blackened and Cajun fish. I don't know what kind it was, but they said we caught 2 or 3 fish. It was so much food, and they said the part of the guide is you go out, you catch it, you bring it back, you cook it immediately, and you eat it. And it was damn good. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I've ever eaten fish that fresh before in my life. And I appreciated it.
I'm telling you right now, man, because we do a lot of fishing in the Gulf, a lot of different types of species of fish. If you have fish that you catch and cook within 24 to 48 hours, there is no odor. There is no smell. Doesn't matter. When you walk into the grocery store and you go to the seafood section and it has that odor, it's not supposed to have that, dude. Fish does not smell like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I've sat there and pan fried it, and you can't smell the fish smell.
And what's interesting about that is that the time and the degradation of the food and the way that we cook it, in the wild, there's never been one recorded case of a lion with atherosclerosis, right? It doesn't exist.
Yep.
They fast for however long, they get their kill, they eat it raw. There is no atherosclerosis. And so it's very interesting. I mean, we could be doing it all wrong. And I don't eat a lot of fish either. I don't like the smell. I don't like the texture of it.
You got to get it fresh, man. Talk to Mark about that.
If you go to a restaurant,
no kidding.
Mark will hook you up.
Dude, if you go to a restaurant and they bring a dish out that has an odor, no.
Send it back.
Dude, I'm serious. And it's
send
not,
it back.
It doesn't smell.
So the CEO, Mark McAfee of Raw Farm, he labeled this an assault, quote, an assault on natural food advocates, suggesting that it's politically motivated.
Yeah.
Do you believe that we're seeing this FDA crackdown a political assassination, on people that they deem, because we've seen that toxic masculinity, working out, the carnivore diet, these things are alt-right, right? Do you think that's what it is? Do you think they're cracking down because they're concerned about people's safety or what?
I'll say this. That's where I was going with this in the beginning was I think because at least from what we've heard right now, and this is December 6th, 2:30 p.m. Central Time from the information we have. Right. Noting that they are literally shutting down production of raw milk at a certain farm without proving that anybody's gotten bird flu from this exact product. And then knowing that this CEO is potentially getting a job with the FDA under RFK's administration, I do think that there is that just poses a couple flags, right? You gotta look at the entire thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't know, but it's an interesting question. And I think watching that video also, that kind of helps to line it all up a bit more too.
Set this video up for us and I'll share it on the screen.
So this is from a local news station, I think in Chicago, where they just do a quick kind of run through about it. But some of the stuff that they say is a little bit alarming, I think.
The CEO and founder of a Fresno County dairy at the center of a raw milk recall could soon become a health advisor to the Trump administration. Today, Mark McAfee confirmed to Action News he has applied for an advisory role at the Food and Drug Administration at the urging of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. President-elect Trump nominated RFK Jr. to serve as the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services. McAfee owns Raw Farms and says RFK has been a longtime customer who now is urging him to help create standards for getting raw milk that they're showing on store shelves across the country.
And then they called me back and confirmed that I'd actually had that application was submitted and told me, thank you very much. It was just a waiting game now to see what happens if RFK is confirmed and whether the team for Make America Healthy Again is confirmed and going forward.
Recently, state and federal health experts detected the bird flu virus in milk samples from McAfee's farm. And this week, the California Department of Public Health secured a voluntary recall for all raw milk and cream products from that company. No human bird flu cases associated with the products have ever been confirmed to date. And McAfee maintains drinking raw milk is safe.
Boom. So that's interesting, right? No bird flu cases have been confirmed.
That's what I'm saying.
To date.
It just makes you ask a couple questions here. And then knowing again that the CEO is potentially going to be working for the FDA. I mean, look, man, if there's one thing I think, whether you're far right or far left, and there's one thing we can all agree on, is that there is some serious corruption going on within these government agencies, right? So when government agencies like this are starting to back up under a new administration, new people are coming in, things are starting to change, I think there is going to be a lot of pushback. And I think this is one example of what I think that pushback could look like.
So here's the thing, the dilemma that I run into as a conservative or just a guy that loves freedom in general, libertarian maybe, but you should allow the sale of raw milk in the same sense that you should allow the sale of all these processed foods, which we're doing today, right? So there are certain people that want to outlaw Red 40 and these other chemicals that are in foods that make them taste better, but are probably doing a lot of harm to the children. Should you allow both? What would be the government's role to step in? I mean, how do you say we should allow raw milk because we agree with it, but we don't want to allow these because they're poisoning people? The same case could be made on both sides.
It's no different than, hey, you want to sell raw fish and you want to eat raw fish, then go ahead. You take a chance when you go eat that dish. I'm not. If I want to drink raw milk, let me buy it. You want to drink pasteurized milk, go buy it. You want to, eat Red 40, go do it.
Man. I mean, I think you're right, Mark. I think at the end of the day, it's I think having more freedom also means more options. And I think that if people want to take that chance on themselves, by all means, go for it. But I think you also need to be smart about what you are and aren't doing. I mean, if you're going to eat sushi raw, there's going to be chances that come along with that, right? If you're going to drink raw milk, it's like you just live a certain lifestyle that's going to support any damages. And I hate to even say damages, but any damages that could potentially be done because of that.
Well, if you get sick, and same thing. I mean, if you're gonna have a diet that consists of the traditional American diet and the chemicals that's in the process making, the same thing. Make sure you're healthy on all the other aspects, and you do it in moderation. I feel like it. What does it matter? But I feel like we're on the brink of the freedom. Hopefully, God willing. I feel like that. With RFK Jr., he gets in and sets up his team to truly make America healthy again. That I don't think that we're going to get these mass amounts of pushback. I really don't, man, because it is bipartisan. You get people who are on the right and the left that want to eat, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, drink.
Regenerative farming.
Yeah, I mean, people on both sides. I think it's more freedom.
And it's starting to bridge the gap, too. I actually think it's a way that people can unite because for the longest time, raw milk, organic produce was termed granola, and people from Portland do that stuff, and now it's like there's a lot of people on the conservative side who are like, yeah, I actually take my health seriously because I've seen my parents or my grandparents struggle through life, and it didn't have to be that way,
It also, too, like, I think that our attention span and our memory is so short in our country that, like, bro, prior to what? The 60s or the 50s, everybody was drinking raw milk. Like, I mean, right?
Well, they got it delivered to them.
Yeah. What year was it when that happened? Let me look that up. When pasteurization of milk started.
Well, it was the pasteurization of milk, and then up until 51, everybody was cooking everything in butter and tallow and lard, and then they introduced Crisco, and bam. Rest is history with the seed oil market.
I mean, I kind of feel like also it's like the whole pasteurization of milk came as a necessity, right? It's like at scale, it's like, holy crap, we have to feed a lot of people, right? We have to make sure that this stuff is safe for a wide range of people's health. Not everybody can handle raw milk, so you shouldn't drink it. But I think a very large amount of people can handle it and should drink it and will benefit from it. So, again, I mean, it all goes back to that same idea. Like, you need to make the choices. You need to have the freedom to make the choices that are best for you. What that looks like is completely on you. Research it yourself. People get so mad when you say research it yourself. It's like,
it's a lot of work, man.
People get really pissy about that. Yeah, right. I just want to ask a doctor or watch a YouTube channel.
Here's like some stats, year stats. Milk pasteurization began in the 1870s and 1880s. 1870, Professor N.J. Ford in Denmark. And then pasteurization in 1890s was first used in the United States to control the spread of bacterial diseases like bovine tuberculosis and brucellosis.
Is that mad cow?
I don't know, but tuberculosis.
Well, it says by 1917, pasteurization of all milk except from cows that had proven to be free of tuberculosis. So the cows were getting tuberculosis too.
And that was spreading to to individuals, to people?
Yeah, I'm sure it's contaminated the milk. But that's what even about like mother's breast milk, if they have pathogens in their body or anything, they drink caffeine, it gets passed on through the milk. So there's a lot of, that's not, I believe that, but it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I'm an advocate for raw milk because I struggle with asthma and allergies a lot, and I don't have any of those problems with raw milk.
Yeah, my son's like that also. He has asthma, and dairy in general sets it off, makes it a little bit worse. Raw milk doesn't at all. And so we always try to do kind of all, milks like almond milk, cashew milk with him. But anytime we go to the farmer's market and do buy raw milk, he does fine with it. So, I mean, again, you got to make the right choice for you. You got to know your health history. You got to talk with a doctor, talk with a nutritionist, but you got to make the right choices for yourself.
I've never had raw milk.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Yeah. That's right.
Get this man a glass of raw milk.
I'm picking up 3 gallons in a parking lot tomorrow. You should come try it.
It's going to be a shady deal. I know it.
No, I've never had it. I just don't think I'm going to work that hard to get my milk, dude. As long as the protein macros are in there, give it to me, babe. I don't care. Let me get 30 grams in the serving. I'm good, bro.
That's
Wait
fair.
a second.
That's fair.
Are you still bulking?
No,
Are you still bulking phase?
No, maintaining right now, but I tell you, organic, lactose free, high protein. I'm cool with it. So pasteurized, non-pasteurized, or whatever. I just haven't had raw milk.
That's funny.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's move.
I don't want to meet people in parking lots and get my milk. I just go to the store.
Oh, it's a
you
fun,
just go to a store
thing,
where it's been through how many other different hands of people.
Yeah, I know. True. But I just gotta let the viewers know, hey, your boy has not had raw milk, okay? But do what you want.
The steaks grow like this on trees too. I try to tell my kids, like, there's no killing of the cows. They just grow like this. This is how they come out of the ground.
Nobody gets hurt. It's a fun, easy process.
Boat, baby. I don't want to sink the ship. You know what I'm saying? So.
It's the parking lot. It's the parking lot that bothers you. It's a little weird. I get it.
Yeah. It's sort of like a drug deal. I mean, it is. I mean, at least when I was doing it, it was weird. But now, I mean, we go to the farmer's market. You just walk up to the table, buy it there. They take credit card, but Square. It's an easy deal. So, yeah, I don't know, Mark. You got to try. You should try it. I like the taste of it more, honestly.
Really?
It is creamier. It does, man. I will say this. It does. It tastes a little. I'm going to say farmy, and I don't know if that's the right word, but it definitely tastes a little bit like that. Sounds gross. It's
rangy.
Like it's not
gamey.
Maybe a little gamey. Yeah. It does have more of a a raw taste to it. Whatever that means.
I did not drink a lot of milk growing up anyways as a kid. Like I'd go to my buddy's house and
I didn't either.
It'd be a Friday night. They'd be having pizza and milk. Brent, I think you're kind of like that dude. Are you that dude? They just have like milk and pizza?
Milk and pasta, dude. That's what I lived on.
Are you for real?
Yeah. My mom would make dinner every night. And for me separately, she would make spaghetti. And that's what I would eat every night. Bread, pasta, milk. And I lived with a sinus infection, I think, until I was 25.
Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense, actually, a lot.
I bet you were a strong kid, though, man. He had his carbs, his protein every night, man.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on to this other topic that I came across in Vogue about the carnivore diet. When a magazine like Vogue is reporting
diet. So
that's right.
These alt-right diets,
when a magazine like Vogue is reporting on the carnivore diet, they're a little concerned. So it says, quote, the carnivore diet is making a cultural resurgence with advocates emphasizing a return to ancestral eating habits. This movement is gaining traction beyond food, influencing beauty trends with products like beef tallow skincare. We're seeing a backlash against processed vegan alternatives, said a market analyst. Consumers are demanding simplicity, transparency, and a connection to natural sources.
How dare they?
How dare they?
How dare they do something so absurd, so alt-right? Carnivore diet. I think it's probably safe to say we're all fans of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To an extent.
The greatest reset diet out there.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. I mean, I did it for 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did it for 3 months. I felt amazing on it. Still will do it from time to time, just if it's like a week or two of eating only meat. Dude, I feel amazing. Now, I don't think it's the type of thing that you can scale, although I know there's a lot of guys who have been on it for years and years and years and years and do awesome. So I don't think it would work as well for me. But in terms of using it as a reset diet, man, 100%, it's incredible. So
I just think
and what's
the people behind the media, and I'm not singling anybody out, I'm just saying, if you look at the culture that we're in, and you even look, it's surprising that this is coming from Vogue because, it's not surprising that it's coming from Vogue. If you look at, what was it? Calvin Klein ads that they just, been releasing, like back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was Marky Mark and he was ripped and it was Calvin Klein. And now, Brett, I'm sure you can find a Calvin Klein ad and throw it up.
Yeah, I'll throw a graphic up here of the modern day Calvin Klein.
Yeah, they're great.
And journalists that are saying, carnivore diet's a bunch of chest pounding, masculine wife beaters out there. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, it's not surprising.
No, This is what she said. She said that they are, it's the ones like, it's the manosphere podcasters like Andrew Huberman who are the ones that are popularizing it. When in fact, he's like one of the last ones to even try it, you know?
Yeah,
and this is
I was going to say, I don't even know that I've heard him really speak much about it. I've heard him say a couple things, but I wouldn't label him a carnivore fan, you know?
No, he was one of the last ones to even try it. And what's interesting is this is why people have distrust in the media. You're having a vegan write an article about the carnivore diet, and they're up in arms because if you think about the bare bones of it, carnivores eat the way they want, eat the way they do because they want to feel better. They feel like there's got to be something more to life. Vegans eat this way because they want to do better for the environment and animals and other things. Yeah. And it's like, so it's a completely different ideology. You know, vegans don't eat for optimal health. They eat because they feel like they're doing something on the moral high ground.
That's interesting.
Carnivores eat
that's
because
a good point.
They want to just be better. And
they're still killing fish. Save the fish.
But they're killing animals.
Yeah. You're still killing a fish. Because aren't vegans that still eat fish?
No, that's a pescatarian.
Pescatarian, yeah.
Vegans don't eat anything that is living.
Any natural animal product, right? Yeah, I mean, even like down to honey, I think, right?
Yeah, anything that comes from animals. That's right. Yeah, so it's like anything at the exploitation of animals.
Sure.
Any diet like that for too long is bad. I mean, vegan, carnivore, anything like that. I mean, you got it. Your body cannot sustain. That it needs different nutrients, which is how God created us. But it's 3:02, gents. I got to bounce. I got to go. So
you're the man. You're the
no
man.
Worries,
Thanks for joining.
Love you, Mark.
Love y'all. Peace.
See you on the next one. So it's crazy, man. You've done the carnivore diet. You've felt better for it.
Man, no, I did. I mean, I honestly didn't. I didn't really ever pick it up for any specific purpose other than I had a friend who was doing it who said that he felt amazing. And this was a guy who I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and I saw him and I was like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, you look amazing. Like, skin looked good. He was big. He was strong. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm literally eating meat. That's it. I was like, that sounds super bizarre, but interesting. I'm going to try that. So I did. And dude, again, I felt amazing doing it. And like I mentioned, I do it from time to time, just as a small reset. And man, it really is a game changer. I'm actually due, like we're filming this the time it's almost Christmas. And to say that I'm almost due for a carnivore diet is a massive understatement, man.
I think January is National Carnivore Month or Carnivore World Month or something.
Oh,
January.
Crazy. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, good to know. I need to pick it up then in January. But no, man, I'm a fan of it. I mean, I completely understand. I think the problem, Brett, is a lot of people are going to look at anything like a carnivore diet or like, a strict workout regimen coming from a male, and it just kind of, you associate it with this toxic masculinity thing, and it just right off the bat it just gets destroyed, right? People hate that. So I don't know. I think that's probably an overly simplified way to look at it, but at the same time, it's a great diet. It can help you with a lot of stuff. It's been tested again and again and again by a lot of very recognizable and fantastic doctors, and I think that stuff's worth checking into.
Yeah, and what's interesting you say about toxic masculinity is that I came across this article on Newsweek where this guy did 6 different diets over the course of 6 months. And when he got to the low fat diet, the vegan diet, he said he felt great. And I've done a vegan diet for probably 40, 50 days. And I did feel good because I think, I mean, what convinced me to do that is we had just moved to Texas. We were living out of an apartment while we were trying to get things done in the house, and we were driving back and forth 45 minutes between the work, and it was a pain in the ass, but we were eating fast food 2 and 3 times a day. And so then the documentary Game Changers came out, and we were like, gosh, we've got to make a change. Like, we can't keep eating like this. There's fast food everywhere. And so I felt great. And I think it's due to the fact that I was just eating real food for once in a while and no seed oils. And then, but I did feel like I was getting soft. But so this guy did this, these 6 different diets. And when he got to the low fat diet, he said that his mood and his attitude was awful.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get his head right. And he'll never do that. When he got to the carnivore diet, he said that he couldn't go drinking beer with his friends, even though he did it. No, he said he was out drinking beer with his friends and he couldn't have fries when he was drinking, and because that messes with the carnivore diet. I'm like, you didn't even do it right to begin with.
Yeah,
you went out drinking beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's funny. He gave the vegan like total, he gave it everything that he had. And then he did something else that was like the Mediterranean diet. He said he felt great, but he was living in Italy for a month. Okay. So
the food source is going to be very, very different there.
Yeah, 100%. And so, but with the carnivore diet, he didn't really give it, I don't think he gave it a fair shot, but
the thing about it too is like, I think everybody's a little bit scared of this high fat idea, which to me and to you also, I'm sure seems a little bit silly because we've been around this.
We've been brainwashed.
Right. But I'm saying you and me particularly have kind of tapped into nutritionists and doctors who are kind of calling all of this out. Right. So it's like hearing that, man, high fat could potentially be dangerous. Just at this point in my life sounds ridiculous. Again, I'm always going to say everybody's different. Everybody's thumbprint is different. Everybody is unique. What works for me isn't going to work the same for whoever out there. So, I mean, obviously do the research, as much as we hate saying that, but do it. And, but man, I mean, high fat eating butter. There's a girl on, Instagram, salt and butter gal, I think, or
she's
Japanese
gal, or is she Japanese or Chinese? Yeah, I've seen her.
And just eating sticks, like eating butter, like it's a candy bar, man. It's the coolest thing that I've ever seen. This chick is awesome. But I mean, she claims again and again and again, like she was a vegan for years, had terrible skin issues, mood issues. Everything changed the second that she did carnivore. And, maybe it's a different blood type thing, like different blood types need different types of food. I don't know, but I definitely think that there's things there to consider and to try out,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, there's this new research coming out that talks about why they think the carnivore diet is working for some people or keto in general. Mm-hmm. And it comes from the fact that there's certain body types of these hunter gatherers that didn't come across food often. They lived in cold climates. Mm-hmm. And when they came across food, they devoured everything and their bodies held on to everything that they could. So they developed these slow metabolisms and they just were stores, everything, because they didn't know when the next time they were going to come across something.
Right.
And then you have people who lived in places of abundance and their metabolisms, it doesn't matter what they eat, they never get heavy.
Right.
And so there is a theory that this stuff seems to be working because it's simple, it's ancestrally appropriate for what their ancestors ate, and they don't eat often, because a lot of carnivores fast because they don't feel the need to eat.
How often do you eat?
I eat a lot now. I'm lifting weights again. I'm trying to move heavier weight. And so I eat at least 3 or 4 times a day. Okay.
Larger meals or what? Smaller?
Yeah. No, they're regular size meals. So like for breakfast, I had a third or a half a pound of beef and 3 eggs.
Got it.
And then I had some fruit after that. And then I had some turkey and some yogurt and some fruit after that. And I'll have some steak for dinner. And I do find that my asthma will flare up if I eat sugar or fruit and honey after the big
even
meal.
The fruit?
Yeah. So even the fruit and honey, if I eat it after a big high fat, high protein meal in the evening, so after 6 o'clock and I have the fruit, then I'll get some inflammation in the lungs.
So I know that there's different types of asthma. There's, I've noticed the cold right now really affects my son.
Yeah.
So if he's playing in the cold, if he's jumping on like the trampoline or something, we get a little bit uneasy because kind of feel like there's an asthma flare up just waiting to happen. Did you have a thing like that, or is yours just kind of always at bay? Like, how does it work for you?
You're talking about which son? Your youngest son?
Youngest son, yeah, Rex.
Yeah, how old?
He just turned almost 7.
Okay, so I played hockey when I was 6, and I had to have a coach hold an inhaler on the ice rinks are cold. He had to have an inhaler in his pocket, and in hockey was 45-second to a minute and a half long shifts, and then you jump off the ice. Mine was at his age up until about high school. My asthma was chronic. I would have to go to the ER sometimes and get treatments. Eventually, it became affordable to have the nebulizer treatments at home. Does he have a nebulizer?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. And so I would have those several times a year, but I was eating just garbage. And I think there was probably mold in the home. I think that I grew out of it, but I also didn't give myself much a chance because at like 15, I started smoking a lot of cigarettes, which was the dumbest
interesting.
thing.
Okay.
But my dad was a heavy smoker, and he smoked in the house. And so that probably had something to do with it too. I suspect that if his is like sports induced, he'll grow out of it and he'll get stronger.
That's what I'm thinking kind of. And dude, it's the weirdest thing because I swear to God, like we are like mold freaks. Like if we smell even an inkling of it, my dad, exactly. So it's like, we've had our house tested again and again and again. We don't have mold. He hasn't been exposed to it that we know of. And we've tracked down his entire life almost trying to like figure out where the etiology of this came from and like how to get over it. And the truth of it is like, he does fine. He's great. He's had a couple attacks that thank God we had a inhaler there for him at the time. And, he was totally fine. He's calm. He's cool about it. But man, as a parent, it just freaks you out. And I think it freaks us out even more, like not being able to pinpoint like where it came from and what happened. Is it just something that he just got? Because who knows, right? I don't know. Yeah. And it's really, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, honestly. But is lots of parenting.
I wouldn't wish, like my wife doesn't understand what it's like to breathe through a straw. You know what I mean? Yeah, where like your lungs just feel like they're collapsing on you. And the harder you work, the less air you can pull in. I know that there was a book about that asthma maybe is a symptom of not being able to expel the carbon dioxide. So you can pull air in fine, but you can't push it back out. And,
interesting. Okay.
And there was a book written in the 70s. Dr. Berg did a video on it once. And so there's a lot of breathing techniques. I think the gal that we had on for endometriosis, she talked about one of those breathing techniques that are supposed to help with asthma.
Yeah, Dr. Reyes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you breathe in and then you try to breathe out without like making, the Kleenex in front of you move or something. And it's like a controlled exhale to build that muscle. But I mean, try to ask a kid to do that. I don't know.
Man, I know. No, it's tough. I mean, it's been a thing that's like freaked us out a bit, honestly. And my wife's been amazing about it. I mean, she's the most prepared human being ever. Like always has inhalers, always has a couple of them. There's one in the car, one in her purse, one on his water bottle at school. So, I mean, we're overly prepared. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, these are things that like you got to do when you have a child who has this issue. And I'm with you too. I feel like because it seems like it is kind of sports induced, that it's something that hopefully he does grow out of. I don't know, it's just kind of freaky.
That it is, man. Should we wrap it?
Yeah, man, let's wrap it up. Yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for chiming in. Please follow us at CounterCause on Instagram, at CounterCause on YouTube. Check it out. Share, tell your friends, tell your family. Everybody have an amazing holiday, amazing Christmas and New Year's, and we'll see you guys in 2025.